Welcome to Camera Zone. Last time we put the 60 up against the C300. This time we're putting the 60 up against an old rival, the 70. Some of the things we've been noticing, obviously ergonomically both cameras are pretty similar, with the 60 having some improvements, but also some big limitations with build quality, and some of the features that we loved are simply not there anymore. We're in Cafettos, so thank you to the coffee shop for letting us use their space. It's awesome. We're going to be putting the highest ISOs really to the test and showing you the difference in noise, and then also aliasing / moire issues at some of the higher frame rates. Welcome to our second camera review video. Today we've got the 7D crop sensor APS-C versus the 60 full frame new camera with the Digic 5 Plus processor. Right off the bat, 70 has noise in the shadowed areas at 640. 640 is still usable, but the highlights are blown. Looking at the 60, it's holding onto the highlights a little bit better, and obviously the new processor is doing much better work with the noise reduction. Upscaling to 200%, you can really see the difference in detail. The letters are unreadable on the 7D, whereas the 60 you can still read those letters. 12,800 ISO. 7D obviously is going to struggle very heavily here. 60 is doing pretty well. I still wouldn't want to use this image, but it is usable. Here's the important thing to note again. 60, look at that sharpness, especially in those low light areas where the detail should be lost and is lost in the 7D. 60's there. And here we go, on to moire. As we all know, the 7D has a lot of problems with bricks and moire. No surprises. Here's the big one. When we put the 60 up there, it's actually worse than the 70. I repeat, the moire is worse on the 60. Now, all hope is not lost. Here they are unsharpened. We're going to sharpen them side by side. Look at this. 70 still a little muddled. Look at the detail in those branches. The 60 holds up much better. Now we are getting a little bit of aliasing on the telephone wires, but that's to be expected. These cameras, after all, are not miracle workers. Sharpening up the signs looks great, but look at the details in the bricks. The 60, there's actually information there. The 70 kind of looks like a muddled mess. All right, so now we're going to compare the sharpening with the 70 and the 60. So here we go. Here's the 70. It sharpens, but obviously DSLR sharpening in post has been a no-no. This may surprise you a little bit. The 60 gives us a lot more room to play. This is at 320 ISO. It's a dramatic example, but you can see it's holding up pretty well. That's the 60 versus the 70. Pretty impressive. All right, so we're going to move on to higher ISOs. Obviously, the 60 is going to perform better with its newer processor.
So here we are with the 60 and the 70. That's opposite. You know how I knew that? This one is insanely heavy. The 60 is very light, so much so that you can actually tell a difference. You kind of notice right away that the buttons have been flipped around. You've got kind of a much more ergonomical, one would say, but the fact that this had more buttons was almost the good part about it. You were able to hit a button and you were where you needed to be. This one you're filing through menus a little bit more. Also, the 70 had a manual function button. You could hook up whatever you really wanted on there, and you were able to one click to that. The 60 got rid of that. Whether they thought that the camera was good enough on its own, or if people never used it, who knows, kind of miss it. Form factor, kind of the same. This one has gotten a smaller handle, whereas this was thicker, kind of give you a better grip, but you're not gonna notice it that much. Obviously no flash. There's now a GPS and Wi-Fi unit in the top of it. Along with, on the top, you now have a lock for your, to be able to switch which menu system you're in, whereas before, I was finding mine in bulb quite often. Other than that, I mean, it's mostly the same. You still get your lock, your cue, you still get kind of everything, just things are jostled around a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. Big deal. Hopefully you didn't invest in CF cards. So, all in all, upgrading to a 60 is an incredible camera.